As we know, there were several attempts made to evangelize the area in Africa now known as Zimbabwe, dating back to the 16th century. It was during 1879 when a more successful attempt was made by Catholic missionaries who entered Zimbabwe from South Africa and not from Mozambique, as in previous attempts. The original Zambezi mission of the Catholic Church, which included part of Zambia, was entrusted to the Jesuits by Rome on the 7th of February 1879. Meantime, the Zambezi mission area was divided and ministered to by different missionary groups from different countries. There is a publication from 1996 entitled The Catholic Church in Manicaland, 1896 to 1996, by Father Leo Gallagher, Carmelite, and was published during 1996. And on the occasion of the centenary of the Catholic Church in Zimbabwe, 1896 to 1996, on the occasion of the Catholic Church in Manicaland, Bishop Alexio Muchibaiwa, who was then Bishop of Mutare, included in the foreword of the publication, The Catholic Church in Manicaland, 1896 to 1996. And I quote, "I am deeply grateful to Father Leo Gallagher for gathering together the many and diverse historical strands of the past 100 years. I am most grateful to all who helped him in the process, particularly those who have contributed to the writing and publication of this book. It has been a great and a most noble task, and it is the first time that a history of the Catholic Church in the area which now comprises the Diocese of Mutare has been written. It records and affirms the contributions of those who made the history. It is a fitting tribute to those who are living and those who have died." So this publication contains an enormous amount of information and details in relation to the Catholic Church in Manicaland from 1896 to 1996. It is a remarkable publication containing details of church developments and life in Manicaland since 1896. We acknowledge with gratitude the wonderful work of Father Leo and his team. It is, as Bishop Muchibaiwa stated, a great and most noble task. It is the first time that a history of the Catholic Church in the area which now comprises the Diocese of Mutare has been written. We also acknowledge with sincere gratitude the wonderful contributions of Father Michael Hender in his many publications since 1986. Another collection on our shared history, put together and published during 2016, is Mavambo, The Beginnings, by myself during 2016. Mavambo includes many extracts from the book The Catholic Church in Manicaland, and all the extracts are referenced in Mavambo. So the Catholic Church in Manicaland by Leo Gallagher in 1996, the many publications by Michael Hender, 1986 onwards, Mavambo by myself in 2016, and from the archives by myself again, 2023, will inform the reader of the remarkable history of the Catholic Church in Manicaland from 1896 to 2023, and the Carmelites in Zimbabwe from 1946 to 2023. From the archives, not yet published, but very valuable regarding our historical past. It is in two parts. Part 1, sections A and B, and Part 2, again, sections A and B. Now, as I said a while ago, there are many publications of great historical value. And I'd just like to show you the front cover of such publications. This is one from Marion Hill, and it was published in recent years, and it gives an excellent background to the Marion Hill missionaries and the Precious Blood Sisters in South Africa and in our own country. As for many years, Father Michael Hender produced Carmel Letter, and his first edition was during 1986. And he continued for many years. In more recent years, Carmel Letter has been published in magazine form. The Carmelites in Zimbabwe, again produced by Michael Hender, is another very fine publication dating back to 1996. The Carmelites in Zimbabwe, 50 years, when the Carmelites celebrated their golden jubilee in Zimbabwe. And then the Catholic Church in Manicaland, which I have referred to already, by Father Leo Gallagher, an excellent resource book containing an enormous amount of history and details. A very fine read. Celts Among the Shona, another production by Father Michael Hender in 2002. And this publication contains many articles which were produced during the 1950s, the 1960s, and mostly contains stories and articles of the early missionaries, the early Carmelite missionaries in Zimbabwe, dating back to the 1950s and the 1960s. Celts Among the Shona. Another very fine production was Carmel Letter during the Diamond Jubilee, when we celebrated 60 years of Carmelite presence in Zimbabwe. So this was the Diamond Jubilee version of Carmel Letter, again by Father Michael Hender during 2006. Our 1970s in Zimbabwe, again, Michael Hender. This publication contains many of his during the War of Liberation, his own experiences during the War of Liberation. It contains many articles of his own experience during that time. Another very good read, and we will be talking about Bishop Lamont later, but this particular publication was produced in 2013. A bishop could not do otherwise. The life and witness of Bishop Donald Lamont, compiled and edited by Father Micheál O'Neill O'Carm and published in Ireland during 2013. We'll be back to this book later when we speak about Bishop Lamont. I've already referred to Mavambo, again a publication during the year 2016. Again, contains an enormous amount of historical data and details of the church in Manicaland, the Catholic Church in Manicaland, and the Carmelites in Zimbabwe. A Mission Divided. This is a very recent publication by the Jesuits, by Father David Harold Barney, who is still in Harare. And the Jesuits produced this publication during 2021. And it contains the Jesuit presence in Zimbabwe from 1879 to 2021. A vast amount of historical information contained regarding the Jesuits in Zimbabwe. And then the collection from the archives, which we already have taken a picture of. From the archives, what happened there was that after the publication of Mavambo, I continued to keep a record of events and details of the church in Manicaland and the Carmelites in Zimbabwe. And also, I went once again through our archives and I picked out a lot of information from the archives which was not included in Father Leo's book or in Mavambo. So from the archives, there's 4 different sections there, contains quite a lot of information regarding the Catholic Church in Manicaland and the Carmelites in Zimbabwe.